What up, y'all? It's your hometown hero, the real Adam Coleman. Y'all know what it is, man. Tru-ID Apologetics. Yes, I am sounding nasal because I'm just getting over COVID, but that's all right, though. I'm excited today. Happy Roe versus Wade is over day. Happy Roe v. Wade is over day. It's done, man. If you haven't heard, I don't even know how. Particularly if you're here in the States, but Roe versus Wade was over. Roe versus Wade was overturned, man. I think it was a 6-3 vote, if I'm not mistaken. It's a huge win for the pro-life movement, definitely. And so I'm just excited, man. I'm elated, man. For people who don't know, I mean, that's actually one of the issues that I'm very passionate about is the pro-life movement and being an apologist for life, man. So I'm just really excited. Definitely want to give a shout out to like OGs in the game, man, who've been fighting for this for like who knows how long, man. Shout out to cats like Francis Beckwith and like Scott Klusendorf, who I've actually interviewed here on his channel. Scotty Clue, man, he been out here for a minute, fighting for the pro-life case, man. Cats like Josh Brown, man, that I watch in terms of developing my pro-life arguments and things like that, man. Shout out to Jerome Gay, who've been vocal about, the pro-life stance, you know what I'm saying, particularly from a biblical standpoint, man. Shout out to him. I'm just hyped, man. I'm just really excited. But, here, again, man, happy Roe v. Wade is over day. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna be with you long, man. I'll probably do a full length show about it, just kind of where my stance is on things. And just kind of breaking things down because we still have a little ways to go, to really put it into the horror of abortion, of elective abortion here in America. But with that being said, man, just kind of in the spirit of celebration today, I wanted to post a portion, a segment of a talk that I did a couple years ago. I think the talk was entitled "The Image of God and the Black Experience," where I talk about essentially that concept of the image of God and how it was just really central, in much of the abolitionist and civil rights movements. And then in that same talk, I get into, how it can inform our ethics today. And then actually in that talk, I talked about abortion. So I want to post a segment of that. Y'all check it out. Interestingly enough, I just find it really interesting. I'm not like making like some sort of spooky spiritual prophecy type of thing, but I do find it interesting that this decision landed the week just after we had this combination on Sunday of Father's Day and a celebration of Juneteenth. Obviously, Juneteenth being a celebration of a date that also was about honoring the dignity of human beings, here in America, and obviously, Father's Day. So I just find that just kind of interesting. But anyway, y'all check out the video. Leave your comments, thoughts, objections. You know how we get down. It's whatever. But I love y'all, man. Happy Roe versus Wade is over day. I'm going to be celebrating all day. I think it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a step forward for America. Love y'all, man. Love God, love people. Take care of the thing God blesses you with. I want to knock out a couple things and just say this. With all that said, I want to shift gears and talk about how this relates to us today. All right. We've seen the ways in which the Imago Dei influenced our ancestors, how they view themselves, overcame those ideological weapons of mass destruction called racism and white supremacy, and ultimately fought for their freedom. But what about us today? How can the image of God, that foundation for purpose, manhood, and value, how can it help us to build on the legacy of our forefathers and shape how we engage the problems of our time? Indeed, the problems that we face in our communities seem like it's hitting us from all sides right now. What are we going to do about it? Everywhere you look, there are suffering people who are just like us, made in the image of God, of who we could say, man is not made for that, right? Right now, in my home state of Virginia, I'll just make this quick. Recently there's been a lot of controversy over a bill that was proposed by Representative Kathy Tran to our state legislator that basically would have significantly weakened the restrictions on abortion, particularly late-term abortion. As it stands now, in order to get a late-term abortion, a woman needs to have the approval of at least 3 physicians. But the law actually, as it stands now, you would have to have what they say substantially and irremediably life-threatening health conditions, as far as the mother is concerned. That's the legal language, right? So you can't just snuff a child out, just on a whim, as it stands now. But this bill would have changed all that by requiring, instead of 3, only 1 doctor would have to be involved. And rather than having to be some sort of threat of death or serious condition, they changed it to say that it only needs to be a likelihood of impairment of the woman's physical or mental health. Now, that may not seem like a big deal. Some of us may not seem like a big shift, but basically in legal terms, what the legislature trying to do is give us the opioid, in favor of abortion, right? When they speak of impairment, it's just such a broad term, rather than something that's definitive, like threat of death or something like that. Impairment, anything can be an impairment, just about. Particularly when you bring mental health into the picture, because much of mental health is based on self-report. So unless you're gonna, they're not requiring that the obstetrician have any sort of documentation of mental health issues, and the obstetricians, those aren't mental health workers. So you have this flimsy law being proposed, or bill that's being proposed for law, to where it's so lax that you really can never regulate. As a matter of fact, in the video that went viral, I don't know if anybody saw it, but in regard to how late a woman can elect to get an abortion, I know this is a sensitive subject, but it actually says, the delegate says that there's no restriction on how late she can get it, even up to the date of the birth. Even up to the date of the birth. And the legislator, Kathy Tran, has asked, even if a woman is showing physical signs of being in active labor, she was asked, would her bill allow for the mother to still get an abortion at that point? And she says yes. Even if a woman is in active labor, this bill would still allow for her to get an abortion at that point. That is murder. That is infanticide. There's just no way around it. There's just no way around it. Jeez, man. So I just want just think about it. Now, I know some of my super conservative friends don't want to try to put a spin on this, but listen to my argument carefully, very carefully, right? I just want to just put this in perspective. Since 1973, Roe versus Wade, since 1973, there have been approximately 17 million abortions in the black community alone. 17 million black babies aborted since 1973. Now I know we get emotionally outraged and morally outraged when it comes to police shootings, police brutality, and we should be upset about those things. Again, listen to me carefully. I don't want people to take my argument in a different direction than what I intended. We should be outraged about police brutality and all that. But 17 million black babies aborted since 1973. So to put it in perspective, right now, there are about 47 million African Americans in our population right now. So that means that white cops would have to line up just over 1/3 of the current black population in America and gun them all down just to catch up to how many of our own we've snuffed out through abortion. That's genocide. If they were to do that, that's genocide. Is there any people group out here that is more self-genocidal than we are? There's got to be a better way. It's like ethnic euthanasia. That's really what this is. Now I know women are in difficult positions and all that kind of stuff. We need to rally around. We can't just condemn. We need to rally around them. I understand that they come into difficult situations and maybe they're on the independent woman thing and they want to chase a career and all. I get all this. I get all this. But there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way than a child paying for your convenience with the innocent life. Come on, man. Come on. We need to talk to our young folks about not putting themselves in those situations. And then if they do find themselves in a situation, we need to rally around them, support, so they can navigate their way through it. And by rallying around, I'm talking about the father needs to be front and center. Too many of us are going without dads in the home. It's ridiculous. I'm saying, the child's made in the image of God, but he got your eyes and nose and everything else. You need to be there. Like Andre 3000 said, the first day of school and graduation. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But we're allowing convenience and freedom of choice to be weaponized against us. What are these doctors doing? I mean, you know, do you want to be an obstetrician or a mortician? Which one is it? Which one is it? Planned Parenthood isn't a healthcare agency. It's not a healthcare agency. Planned Parenthood is an extension of the legacy of white supremacy, and it is engaged in the assisted suicide of the black race here in America.
Yeah, say it.
And lawmakers like Kathy Train of Virginia and legislators in New York who already passed a similar bill are aiding and abetting our demise as well. Their hands ain't clean. Their hands aren't clean. They may not be physically going out there and doing the abortions. You know, make just babies made in the image of God. They might not be physically in there doing it, you know. But with the power of the pen, they draft murderous legislation with such a malicious and lethal ambiguity. And that it hastens the slaughter. And like Dr. King says, you know, we can say, you know, man is not made for that. And we need to do something about it.